81K BTC, another scary weekend. Is it going to be this Black Monday situation? Is it a repeat of 1987? I'm going to show you some information that could lead into something dangerous like this. So guys, I'm going to make sure you are covered on BTC. I'm going to make sure you are covered on these altcoins. You're going to have levels now, and you're going to have levels if there is a capitulation event later on. So lots to talk about here on a Sunday. Let's get right into it. And happy, disgusting price action. Again, here we go. So Uncle Donald really not making things happy for us. But if you are happy, hit the like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. And if you're ready for some setups and things, do the same. Because I've also brought in the gun from Friday. He nailed that S short for us. Thank you, sir. Still printing. Might be closing it shortly. He's bringing some more. He's got some more action for you guys. And James is in the house. Super bearish. He's super bearish.
Mega bear.
D says, WTF is going on? Well, this is what's going on, D. It's an absolute dog show at the moment. So we're going to tackle this. So guys, get comfortable. We got a lot of news to talk about. We got a lot of altcoins to talk about. So take this time and let's enjoy the session here. So look, Banter Bubble's not really enjoying the session unless you are loaded short. Okay, so now we are obviously in quite a few shorts at the moment. Some of them came across last week, Thursday, Friday, and that's nice. But if you are looking for longs at the moment, things are a little bit it's a little bit pressurized. So what we are going to do for you guys is there's a couple of potential bounces coming into these areas. You're going to find some of these alts now. So there might be some short-term moves coming, and then we're going to make sure you are covered for some bigger downside. Okay, so let's get into BTC. Let's see what the deal is. Fuck, this is an absolute misery at the moment. And BTC is now breaking through our 618 support. That was 81,200. So this was a big level that we bounced off last week. So this was Thursday, give or take. We had a beautiful bounce, and that teed us up for quite a few short situations that we found ourselves in, including that absolute banger that Dave gave us on S. So thank you for that, sir. I'm definitely going to owe this man a couple of beverages at that Banter event at Token 49 in Dubai. We're going to be there. So let's not digress. Okay, BTC, what's going on this Sunday? 81,200, getting lost as we speak. Now, what levels are we looking at in case there is some kind of short-term bounce? So I just want to highlight a few big zones for you guys leading into the situation. This is our August VWAP. From the Japan carry trade. Now, that was a massive support that we used. That was a massive low that we used. So that is 80,100 we are looking at there. And you can see we do have some tie-in with some horizontals. So wouldn't be surprised if we get some kind of bounce in that region. Then 79,200. This is also will take out that wick for us quite nicely. And that's a 786 fib. Now, we know BTC loves a little bit of fib action. Look at that. That's our 618 there in play. Bang, bang. And the 786 could come into play for us there, 79,200. So these are the current short-term levels that I'm interested in. And then a little bit lower down, I want to give you 77.5. Now, these are the zones where you can go hunting. These are the zones where you get typical little reactions or typical little bounces to the upside. And you can see something along those lines, for example, is what we're going to be looking for. And there you go. You can see BTC bouncing right now off the 618. Okay, so if you do want to be long here, if this is going to be a bounce, 80,800 is going to be your low that you're going to pay attention to. Okay, so now what do we do for the upside on the short term? Let's say, for example, they've been selling all weekend now. Over the last say 12 hours, there's been a constant sell-off in the market. There's a little bit of pain there. And what typically happens now, it is weekend, so it's low volume and it's an easy game. There's going to be a lot of late shorters at the moment. So if there is a push up, I'm not going to get too excited in terms of bullishness because we've got a big Monday coming up. So what are we going to look at? So essentially, we just wanted to look at a couple of basic fib levels to the upside, including some VWAPs and some horizontals. So for me, 83,800 makes sense. 84,700 really makes sense to me, and then 85,600. So these are going to be your typical reaction zones to the downside. I would say pay close attention to this 84,700. There's a nice VWAP there as well. Bitcoin Realist says next big block to the upside is 85K. Yeah, that's the zone. Okay, you can see we've got a beautiful area there. That's your 85K there, bro. So that does make a lot of sense to me. And one of the things you can do to help you is watch the liquidation heat map. This is the weekly weekly that I like to pay attention to. And you can see we've got beautiful liquidity here at 81, and we've got a nice little set here at 85. Let's actually just refresh this. Let's get the latest info. I'm going to put it on the 7-day. And there we go. Okay, we're busy eating some of the liquidity now on the downside. So there's a chance we're going to get some short-term bounce, and then we're probably going to go and take out this 85K. You can see that region over there. That makes sense to me. So that is directly in between this region here, VWAP and 618. So that's a nice level over there. And then remember, we have covered previously, it's a massive retail thing, this death cross and the golden cross. But what we have seen before is we often get a pump into the death cross. We get a dump into the golden cross. Now, there's going to be an argument and say that was the pump into the death cross. But, for example, it hasn't actually happened yet. You can see here we are with BTC waiting for this death cross. It could be very plausible that we pump into that death cross and then get a monster rejection. Now, how is that all going to work? So we know the US Open tomorrow is going to be an absolute, well, I don't want to say it's going to be a dog show, but it's going to be something that everybody is waiting for. They're going to be waiting with bated breath for Uncle Donald to tweet something, to say somebody's negotiating with someone, whether it's Europe or whether it's some of the other countries. We know at the moment he's out golfing. Okay, he seems to not give any shits at the moment as to what is going on. So there's a little bit of fear that the markets are going to sell off incredibly hard leading into tomorrow. But in leading into that, we could have some kind of short-term bounce into Asia or something like that. So there's a lot happening, and I know James is super excited about.
Super excited! Can't wait for this to happen.
He's so pumped about the current situation.
So
Okay, let's get into some news and things, and then let's see what we can deal with. So 24-hour wrecked. This was 200 million about an hour ago. So we've already wrecked people here. We 300 million. So we're moving up from rookie numbers. We're getting into substantial numbers here. So 320 million wrecked in the last 24 hours. And Uncle Donald has this to say. I mean, we know he's on the golf course at the moment. And Chartec has posted this. GM, okay, how's your day going so far? Okay, is everybody having a good time? So there's who's feeling like this? Who's feeling insulted on their current portfolio situation? So other than all of this drama that we are waiting at the moment, we know we've got a big week ahead. Okay, so obviously, number one, reciprocal tariff responses likely to begin Monday. The world is waiting. We know he had something like 100 calls from 100 countries trying to negotiate now, and he's ignoring them. Apparently, he's on the golf course at the moment. Then we've got Fed meeting minutes. That might be a market mover. March CPI inflation data, that is obviously a market mover. Jobless claims, PPI, and number 6, Michigan Consumer Sentiment Friday. Okay, so we know it's going to be a bumpy ride regardless of what's happening with Uncle Donald, but we know a lot of these hedge funds, a lot of these TradFi guys, obviously crypto's 24 hours, so we get these margin calls all day long, but these guys are going to be under severe pressure come Monday. If this market starts falling over, remember, these guys probably went max long on November 4th when Trump was elected. Can you imagine how bullish these guys were and how they've been trying to hold on to their positions and just prop them up? Now, James was saying something quite interesting earlier as well. He said he saw that gold started selling off on the weekend, now leading into the weekend. Now, why did gold sell off there, sir?
to cover these margin calls. And I couldn't figure that out until I saw them going, why is gold dumping? We should be pumping further. Gold has been insane. And every time the market's dumped, gold goes up. It's just how it works. Going, why is gold dumping simultaneously? To cover the margin calls, because people were getting they were going to get liquidated. So they had to sell the gold to cover the losses.
Well, we're going to look at this S&P chart in a second, okay? And they might not have enough margin, okay? Because they could be in for... Okay. We're going to see now. We're going to see now. Okay. This is horrible, guys. This is horrible. Okay. Let's start with the VIX. So we know what the VIX is. I touched on this on Thursday, Friday for you guys. This is the volatility index. We know when this thing is spiking, generally the markets are falling over. There's panic everywhere and guys are moving into safe haven assets. They're selling their stuff and they're generally buying gold. But right now, these guys are selling their gold to prop up their margin position. So in terms of the VIX, where was it so rough? Look at this. This was COVID. Okay, that was a pretty rough ride, if you guys might remember that. If you were in the markets back then, it wasn't pretty, okay? So that was a big pumpy. Then we had the Japan carry trade, okay? Absolute banger here in August. That VIX ripped, but look how quickly it rejected and the market pumped. So this is quite interesting to me. And are we going to get a push now to take out this carry trade wick? But what we do know is, okay, this thing could reject very hard on some kind of tweet or some kind of move out of Trump, and the market is going to be gagging for some kind of pump. But in terms of the VIX, it can easily push to 64. There is more pain here potentially on that VIX. It can easily push to the COVID highs. We are looking at what's effectively, I mean, can we call it a black swan event, considering that everybody actually knew this was going down, but maybe they didn't know how bad it was going to be. But in terms of how bad it's going to be, 64 is in line, and 81 to 84 is also a reasonable area here for this VIX, and that's obviously going to put things under loads of pressure on the S&P. And 𝗀𝗶 says, feels like 22, probably some relief rallies, but down is the trend, bro. Here it is, and one of the best guides you can use is the S&P. This is the S&P on the weekly, and I did touch on this one last week, and I just want to point out our quantum reactor. Okay, we know this thing bottoms every time the quantum reactor gets hit, and this is basically since October 2011. Okay, so over the last 14 years, whenever the quantum reactor gets hit, there may be a little wick through it, but it seems to recover, okay, in these types of situations. So for me, if I have to call a bottom, 4,600, here it is. And we've also got the beautiful horizontal here in play with this absolute banger here, 382 quantum reactor. For me, that's going to be a nice move up. Now, that might not be the perma bottom. We might see some more downside after that. But in terms of a face melting bounce, 4,630 to me looks like a hot zone there. That looks like a proper area there for us, and that band is basically held since 2011. Okay, so what is that in terms of the S&P? Well, we know we got 6% down on Friday. This is now another 8%. Now, is that plausible? Yeah, I mean, I think it is. 8%. You can do that in an afternoon, right?
No big deal. This could be tomorrow morning.
James is bearish though. James is proper bearish today. But look, this is on the table, and in terms of bounce zones for us, like, I mean, we can look at this and we can try and argue that there's a couple of big zones here where this thing can bounce, but they're not massive areas. So let's look at that. This is the weekly. Okay, we got a couple of weekly levels here, and yeah, we got a couple of touches there. Okay, so in terms of bounce zones, 4,900, that could do something, some kind of dead cat, okay, maybe something along those lines. But in terms of where we bottoming, 4,600 makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, so that's a wrap on the S&P. And remember, guys, all of these charts go straight into Chart Hackers directly after the show. Okay, so you can play around with those things. And we're obviously trading a lot of stocks now at the moment, and we're bringing that into the equation for you guys. We don't want crypto to dominate everything. If we can trade stocks using some crypto platforms, you know, that's what we're going to get up to. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things here. This is 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 saying US stock market pullback. Something must break to create the events. April 4th had to happen. The bubble must pop to redistribute again. Okay, so this is basically, you know, a comparison over the big dumps. And we saw the .com crash 5.8, September 11 4.9. I mean, I'm saying only 4.9. I mean, that was quite an event. 9% for the global financial crisis. So we're pretty much on par. And in terms of COVID, well, we only did 50% here. And Ivan says Trump wants to buy cheap, and I suspect he wants to buy even cheaper. Okay, so that's why this could be on the table. Is this why Trump is golfing at the moment? Is this why he's not tweeting? Is this why he's not engaging with some of the other countries? Does he want to come out on Monday after a massive dump and then come and save the day with some kind of comments once they've started locking in a couple of positions? And Vin says he's tired of winning. Trump, please stop already. Okay. Jesse Cohen says, Black Monday, 1987 versus 2025. The bears are getting louder. Look at this chart. Look, what did we have? We had the highs, okay, as you can see here. We had a dead cat bounce, then we had the massive sell-off here. So we've now done phase one. We've had the highs, we've had a dead cat bounce, we've had our first phase of the sell-off. And now on Friday, I was saying, like, we actually needed to bottom on Friday, because you often hear that markets don't bottom on a Monday. And this was the thing that was kind of scaring me a little bit there. Obviously, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 lives with his mom, but he might be right, and maybe he's right. So in terms of Black Monday, guys, this is on the table. Okay, this is legit on the table here tomorrow, unless Uncle Donald comes to save the day or has Cramer saved the day. Okay, is it possible that Cramer has literally marked the bottom? He says he warns of a potential Black Monday scenario this week. Let's see.
the president doesn't try to reach out and reward these countries and companies that play by the rules in the 1987 scenario, the one where we went down 3 days and then down 22% on Monday has the most potency. We will not have to wait for Alt2 or Willie. We'll know by Monday.
22% on a Monday, on Black Friday.
I think his luck changes here. He's finally right for once.
22%. We're going to clip this. We're going to clip this comment. 22%. Oh, guys, 22%, 618 bounce, S&P.
Maybe not 22% because you see, back then, they did not have the circuit breakers in place, right?
Yes,
that does exist now, so that could slow it down, but I don't see any way we don't dump. With Trump being MIA and not doing damage control, he wants more pain.
Okay, guys, long 4,600. Lock in those longs. I'm telling you now, 4,600. We're going long. Okay, tomorrow we're going long. 4,600 S&P. Okay, now let's go. Let's see what else is going on here. So Kramer, maybe he's called the bottom there. Okay, Uncle Donald. I'm not going to play this video. We got way more else to talk about. We got too much business to deal with. But basically, he's just saying when he was president last time, the markets outperformed, and he's literally telling you they're going to outperform again. So for me, this is just a matter of time. It's a matter of surviving this filth at the moment, and if you can survive the filth, the face melting move up is going to reward you. Now I'm telling you that, so just make sure you guys are hanging in there. In terms of Elon, does he have some inside info? He's basically just said he calls for the US and Europe to establish a zero tariff system and free trade zone. I don't know, does he have the president's ear? Is something going on there? We'll see tomorrow. Is a tweet like that going to be a face melting move to the upside, James? I don't know. Do you think it's possible? No, he's not. He's not. James is bearish. He's not happy. Then Brett, this was interesting for me, and this is something we actually need to pay attention to, because I've raised this before. About probably a year ago, we spoke about this this chart, and basically what happens is the chart speaks for itself. The market has peaked around the time of rate cuts, continues down until the rates are complete. We're likely going to see rate cuts through mid-2026, according to this tweet. So QE occurred in 2008, 2020. Could we get QE? Yes, eventually. Cool, that makes sense. However, like in 08 and 20, Paula said QE doesn't come until rate cuts are complete. Now, look at this chart here. This is actually super interesting. There's the rate cut cycle starting at the top on the left-hand side, and all they did was drop it until it was complete. There we go again, and here we are. We're midway through. If they're only going to start doing this around 2026, well, we're in for a rough ride, okay? And if you look at this chart, it could get a little bit messy. So that would be our bear case, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're not going to have fun in between. So remember, if that is happening, all it's going to be is a simple downtrend, and we're going to be able to trade these downtrends. So wherever this is, eventually you're going to get something like that. Okay, so it will maybe be a year or so like that, and we'll be able to trade those moves. So there'll be tons of moves along the way. So don't think it's all over. Don't think the fun is over. It's just going to look a little bit different. And then in terms of the big stocks, and I'm obviously, as you know, I'm busy trading these things, and I got a feeling I'm gonna get rinsed on Monday, essentially. So we're gonna talk about some of these stocks right now, and BTC versus the Magnificent Seven. Now, the Magnificent Seven, it's things like Tesla, Nvidia, Microsoft, those types of things. And you can see Bitcoin is actually showing strength relative to these guys. So at some point, if you look at this chart, we will have a retest. Okay, so is that the whole market collapsing tomorrow for that retest? What does that look like? It remains to be seen. But in terms of these charts, I thought it was interesting. And now in terms of these levels, I want you guys covered. So if we get a sell-off tomorrow in the markets, like let's say we don't get a tweet out of Trump, you want to have levels where you could look to invest, you could look to DCA into these types of things, because if you agree that Nvidia, it's been punished enough, if you agree this thing could have a face melting move to the upside, well, you kind of want to identify the zones of capitulation. So the first area is obviously the zone we identified for our short. So we caught that short from the upside. We are now in the long zone. So we are in the bounce zone currently on Nvidia at 92. So a nice little tweet out of Trump, and this thing absolutely rockets back up. Alternatively, if the market is going to fall over, guys, this is your buy zone. 77 to 78, somewhere in that region is going to be your Nvidia buy zone. So lock that in. And what was that comment? Doesn't think it's going to, what was that comment? Don't think it's going to dump that hard. Yeah, it's, guys, I just want you to be prepared, okay? So Nvidia bounce zone now, 92 to 94. You're going to know pre-market. If you open TradingView Okay, you're going to get a very good picture. If you open TradingView tomorrow, leading into the US Open, maybe 3-4 hours, you're going to see the pre-market prices. They're going to give you a dotted orange line there on TradingView, and that's going to tell you if these things are going to gap down or they're going to gap up on opening. So it's something you can watch. But NVIDIA, that's ready for you guys. Yes, sir?
I saw TradingView on Friday, and it said, don't open TradingView today. Just don't. I think it'll come out with that again on Monday.
Guys, let's talk Apple. This is Apple on the weekly. I want you covered with these levels. Now, I started along on Apple on Friday. Now, we were looking for some kind of bounce, but Trump didn't come to the party. So in terms of Apple, we are still in our bounce zone, the 188, 186. Then we've got a level lower down for you. I need you to be prepped on this level, 176. Watch this area here. So these are going to be your buy zones. Look at that quantum reactor there, 176. And then I've got a level for you, 166. So if you're looking for buys on Apple, good zones, it's going to be 186, 176, 166. Those are the big zones where I would expect some kind of bounce here out of the market. And look at this quantum reactor acting as bull support for Apple all the way back to March 2009. It's been the support band. So looking for this one obviously to hold. If we do get a wick through, well, it could be interesting. But guys, I would say we're getting close there. We're getting very close here. And Cosmo says if the market collapses, I'm buying MicroStrategy. Listen, guys, if the market collapses hard tomorrow, okay, that's a massive opportunity. Really. I mean, really, it's a proper opportunity. Remember, by the time it crashes tomorrow, there's going to be so much fear, and you need to buy that fear on those massive areas there. Just think of the discounts that you guys are going to be getting there. And cryptos are dropping like lead right this minute. Let's see. Are we falling over here, guys? Yeah, we're going down. We're going down. We're going down. Shorts are printing, but I don't think for too much longer. I think we might get a bounce here. Okay, Google, guys, want to give you this. 2 big zones to buy Google. Am I going to get rinsed tomorrow? I'm already sitting in my Google, my first buy. I've got another buy a little bit lower down. I think it was 142. I'm waiting for the Google buy, and then we've got a level 130. For Google, we are looking at next. Obviously, this was my dream scenario. Uncle Donald comes and fixes the market, bang, right shoulder, then we go lower down. Okay, so 145 to 142 on Google, then 130, guys. That's the level. Okay, dropping this in Chart Hackers immediately after the show. Dave, are you okay there? Are you comfortable? Everything okay?
I'm phenomenal. Yes.
Because you short, okay? Because we short. We got to figure out when we're closing these shorts, okay, guys? So don't panic. This is actually what I want to know, and this is a totally separate discussion. But I'm about to start a once-a-week stocks recap show for you guys, and it's going to be separate to my regular crypto show. So I'm keen to hear. Just drop in the chats if there is interest in that type of thing, so we can separate the two. Because right now I'm doing stocks mixed with my altcoins, obviously, and keen to hear your sentiment there on how we do it. Okay, so we're going to bring Dave in shortly. Dave, just hang around, bro. Just hang here with me. Okay, let's go. Meta, guys, last one on Meta. Buy levels 495, and your next one is 450. Okay, Meta 495, 450. Remember, I'm trading these on BTC.C. I've had to load in margin just in case they come and rinse me tomorrow, but I'm going to buy more on those levels. Okay, so I'm ready to go. Those are the zones that I'm going to be watching. Now, let's talk about the big boss. And in terms of BTC, well, again, no surprises here. We've been tracking this weekly chart for, geez, guys, probably since the highs. We've been looking at this as an option for us. And in terms of the process for BTC, where do we bottom? Well, guys, we know it's the 73 to 70K zone. So always looking for something like that, bang. And then maybe we're going to come back to this 51K region. And that looks pretty reasonable to me. Okay, now it all depends when Donald or Uncle Donald ends the drama. But in terms of major bounce zones, 73 to 69, give or take. And then that 51 is a trend. It's a quantum reactor. It's a horizontal. It's a 618. It's an absolute banger. Okay, so those are the zones. Those are the ones you want to pay attention to on BTC, and you can see your weekly reversal should be cooking at some point as well. It's just a matter of patience now. So, Dave, any other big levels you watching on BTC at the moment?
No, I've been saying the same thing for quite a while here. And if you guys were tuned in on Friday, I said, hey, I'm feeling a little bit bearish until we break some levels here with Bitcoin. And so, yeah, if we're coming down, we're coming down. And yeah, we're already positioned to maximize on that move.
Juicy, extremely juicy.
Very juicy zones down there. Okay, guys. Okay, as we watch Bitcoin melt down, well, it's nice because if you got some of the shorts, like David gave us, for example, he gave us S on, when was this? You gave us S on Friday. That thing is still printing, bro. Must I close it yet?
And I mean, I'm holding it. So I think if we are indeed going to go for a lower level, I mean, this is a great take profit zone for sure. I've taken a little bit off the table, but I still think S is coming down to that 41 cents. 42 cent region for that double bottom. We have some lows there from the 10th of March that would easily come take out.
Okay, well, look, I can see now 2 trades have just opened now. A limit order Sol picked up and a very old Ondo limit order has just picked up. So that's new to me. That's just arrived now. So in this current sell-off. Okay, so we need to reassess those levels there. Okay, let's go. Let's get into these. Oh, fuck, this market's looking filthy. Let's look at this. Let's get into this. Okay, dominance, guys. I'll tell you where it ends. Okay, it ends when we get this dominance rejection. Okay, that's pretty much where the alt pain is going to stop. So in terms of dominance rejections, I think we're pretty much halfway through this wick at that first rejection we got last week. Now you can see there's a little bit of pressure, but I think the pain ends if it does boost or does push up. I think the pain ends at about 64% before we get the next big rally there on the alts, and I'm talking big rally, not like a small little move. So we're going to be looking for a major rejection, and that would be at those highs. So 64%. Watching that. Look, I'm not going to look higher just yet. If we are pushing way higher, we're going to deal with it tomorrow on the markets. We'll look at some much higher time frames for you guys as well. And remember, I mean, we're in the bounce now, cut it off phase again, and this is a great thing for you guys to watch. It's absolutely free. It's the CoinGlass RSI heat map, and use this. It's a 4-hour RSI reversal tracker, and you can see a lot of these tokens are pushing deep now. They're deep into reversal zones, and we used this effectively a couple of weeks back when we had a big bounce in the market. And if we just constantly use this system, when we start pulling this out, when we get super oversold on the 4-hour, and especially for spot trades and things like that, it can actually work in your favor. So I just want to highlight the high here. Look at this. Bitcoin dominance is moving into overbought. They're telling us possible reversal on dominance, possible move back to the downside. And then the altcoins, you can see all the alts are sitting here. And some of the interesting ones are things like SSV, GTO, Notcoin. Look at that. ACT, BSW. I don't even know what that is. Mbox. Don't know what that is. We got Lumia. We got Avai. There's a lot going on here. Super oversold on the 4-hour. And James, how's that sentiment going on there about doing some stocks, a little separate once a week show there?
Everybody seems for it. Yeah, lots of positive comments there. People seem to want it.
Okay, nice. Okay, guys, let's crack on. Let's talk altcoins. So, in terms of what we want for our alts, so we are literally in the zone. Now, I know this offends some of you, but this is it. Okay, this is where we are. This is the total 3 coming into play here. Total 3 is the altcoins excluding ETH and BTC. Look at this absolute banger zone here for us here. The 720 billion zone. We need a bounce in this area. You can see the macro trend. If we do push lower here and we have a rocket up move, we're going to say it was a fake out below trend and a perfect play there for us. So we are moving into an alts bounce zone. This is where you don't want to get overly greedy unless they're going to come and capitulate us. Now, if they do capitulate us, look at these levels. Look at this area over here, 640 billion. I've also got cover from my quantum reactor on the weekly, and we can see that is a nice bull market support band for us on the S&P. It's working on a lot of the stocks as well. It's working on BTC. So I'd like to see this play out at 640 billion for me. So if we do capitulate, that's going to be the zone of interest there for me. And Vinman says he regrets buying Trump coin. Come on, bro. Okay, so big levels on total 3, but right now we are in the bounce zone. And in terms of ETH, we are nearly there. My ETH short is about to auto close. I've got a TP, I think, at 1609 on the ETH, on my ETH short. And I'm I'm going to plant this here. I mean, this guy is obviously quite bullish, but he says 12 months straight of heavy selling on ETH. Net taker volume has started making higher lows while price keeps hitting lower lows. He's saying it's textbook bullish divergence. I think after this absolute destruction on ETH, I think anything can make this market bounce in the next day or so. So James has got big eyes here looking at this.
ETH is going home. Cowan's going to be gloating for weeks.
Ben Cowan is going to be so happy, and I salute you, sir, Ben Cowan. Well done. He absolutely nailed this, and to be fair, I fucking nailed this too. Okay, we got the short at 2,100 and we're sending it home. Okay, 1615 is the long zone for ETH. Am I going to regret closing this ETH short at these levels? Let's see where my TP is here on this thing. We're moving into bounce zones. There it is. 1601 is my TP for ETH. And is it time to get long when we drop into that area? So it remains to be seen. Dave, bro, I'm going to close this S short, bro. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. There you go. Okay, it's closed. Okay, banking some profits there. Okay, so guys, ETH, where's the next long? 1615, or we liquidating the ETH foundation at 1,100. Okay, so those are the big levels. There is another region. I want to plant the seed here in case there is a wick. I want you guys to see that guy. Call it 1,400. Okay, 1,4 potential down zone as well. And then we're liquidating the ETH Foundation 1,1, I think was the number they were talking about. Remember, there was a tweet and some information out there saying they were leveraged and their liquidation level was 1,1. But obviously, I'm sure they can just add margin. So it might not actually be a thing, but that is a level there that could potentially come into play. Okay, let's go. Altcoins. Dave's got some bangers as well for you guys. And in terms of Sol, it's playing out. Okay, this is it. So this was the plan. We looked at Sol as a potential move into this week. And if Sol loses this major weekly level over here, this is what I'm expecting: a dip down, a pump to the upside, and then the big move for Sol into this 80 to 69 region. So this is the game plan. Okay, this is what we're looking at for Sol. I'd like to see that play out. Obviously, it can go straight down into that area if we do have a monster sell-off. It can dip straight down into that zone. So just remember, guys, get your buys ready. Okay, like again, spot buyers. If you hit 80 at Sol, if you hit 69, look at this area. We've been waiting for this level since it tapped this on January 24. Okay, we're doing the full round trip visit here, a classic crypto round trip coming in hot. And at some point, remember, on these types of dips, we always get some kind of bounce later on. So you're going to get these moves before we go to zero on Sol. Okay, so just be patient. It will happen. I don't think we're going to get Sol at $8 again, but I think let's start with 80 to 69, somewhere in that area. Zen likes it at 80. Look, it's a nice round number. I think there's going to be a lot of buyers there. And Ross says, where are we buying some fart for spot? Feel like it's got to be with, yeah, guys, I agree. FARTCOIN, all these things. Okay, oof. Jeez. Right.
Wow.
This is tough. Okay. So let's talk Sol on the degen basis. This is it now, guys. So just to recap where we were, what did we have here? We had our first short zone that I gave you guys on Friday. There were two big short zones. It was this 122 to 124, okay, on Friday. That was short zone. Ooh, this is full. Then it was 128, I think, to about 129, 130. Those were our short zones. So hopefully some of you TP'd, or some of you got the head shorts, or some of you took profits in those areas. Now, we're moving into an interesting zone. We know this 109 is a massive weekly level here for Sol. And that's what on my note here for the chart hackers last week. Weekly level can be very dangerous. It opens up this 80 move. So what do we want to see now? We want this to actually be a little sweep of the lows and then start pushing up. If that is like the ideal bull scenario here, this is it now. This is where we're sweeping lows and we're looking for a potential bounce. If this doesn't happen, okay, you're probably going to see a hard wick down now, and then we're going to be dealing with that move that I spoke about on this previous weekly chart. Okay, so looking out for this, we'll obviously, generic says shit's getting real. Breaking, McDonald's hires degens. Jesus, guys, it's rough out there. Okay,
that's fake news, actually. There's no positions left. All full.
fully loaded up.
Fully loaded.
Guys, so those of you watching the show, okay, I just want to talk to you about this quickly. You're watching all the TA, you're like, what is this guy doing? How does he know it's going to bounce there? Why is he short? How did he know he needed to be short? How does he know when he needs to be long? All those types of things. Well, guys, I'm doing an accelerator course. It's live for you guys. It's ready to go. So if you want to learn a new skill, if you've just been wrecked in the market, if you've been trying to navigate this market alone, now's your time. Learn a new skill, do the accelerator course. It's literally a 10-day course for you guys. You're going to learn all the stuff that I do, and I incorporate it in such very short, understandable, and concise videos for you. You're going to be trading in no time, and then you're obviously going to join Chart Hackers, which is my trading community, where I've got the most incredible trading team in there for you guys. So sign up to my course. Go into the show description, click on more, and learn a new skill. Okay, there it is, a second from the top. Do the accelerator course. My leverage workshop is going live tomorrow. I'm doing a private workshop for everybody that has signed up and done the accelerator course. That is happening tomorrow. Okay, so you're going to get my full attention. I'm going to teach you guys some leverage moves and things like that you didn't actually, or you haven't actually seen before. Maybe you didn't understand a couple of things about leverage. So I'm going to be showing you all of that. Okay, and remember, all these things that I talk about are in the show description, including all the exchanges that I use. Here's Bank, the exchange that you can see I'm cross hedging on at the moment, and you can see BTC.C. That's where I'm trading stocks using crypto, and all these links are here for you guys, including David's Twitter account. He's our special guest, and he's our gun, obviously, from Chart Hackers, and he's here. There's his link for you guys as well in the description. Okay, so everything is there for you guys, and I did do a poll earlier. I said Black Monday is going to, and you guys said 71% it's going to happen. Huge dumping coming. What does that mean for you guys generally? If 71% thinks the market's going to collapse?
It's usually the opposite, but this time I think they're right. We don't normally have these sorts of conditions.
This time is different.
Well, yeah, this time really is different. Having a president that's systematically destroying the financial markets, yeah, this is different.
Half of me wants to start longing when I see 71% want to send it down.
Normally I would agree, but not in this case.
Okay, let's go, guys. We got so many alts for you. They're coming in hot. I've got big levels for you, and I've got degen setups for you coming in hot. Dave's got actually 2 for us, and Make Money Travel Enjoy is late, but she's here placing short-term long. You see, this is a hacker. Yeah, she's one of our hackers, and she's been learning a couple of skills here, and she's looking for a couple of short-term bounces. So yeah, guys, this is it. If you want a long sol, I mean, if you were thinking about a situation, there's a possible sweep right now. This is it. And then a short-term little bounce, okay? And then obviously some more hell awaits for us to the downside, okay? And yeah, that was a nice comment. They will trick the market back up. That's potentially, Dave, bro, you can see my limit order picked up the sol. Okay, you see this? See there? Okay, we leave it. We picked up a sol long there. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Hopefully they don't destroy us here. Okay, let's talk a couple of big zones for a couple of important tokens. So let's start with PEPE. Or PEPE. This is PEPE on the weekly. In terms of bounce zones, guys, well, we've got our first area of interest for you. This is it. So in terms of Trump comes out in the next 24 hours, says, you know what, we're going to be a bit softer. So-and-so's negotiating. I'm happy to do this. We're going to get TikTok, whatever the story is, and everything is dandy. Well, then we're going to get a face melting bounce for PEPE, and that is going to be anything down to, say, 58. Makes sense to me. Okay, so this is a nice little level here for PEPE. So 58. Now, if you get a capitulation, if the market falls over in the next 24 hours, you're most likely going to get quite a hard reaction around about and into 39. 393 is probably where it's going to be for you guys. So 393 is going to be your next capitulation zone. So look out there if they do want to dump you. And then obviously things can get filthy after that. Look at this candle. They can easily come and take that candle out. Okay, so look out for that. That is obviously a later move. So what I would expect here is, if it does collapse, a bounce there, and then we come later to get that one to the downside. So for me, I'd say 58 PEPE and 39. Those are the big ones that I would pay attention to, or that I am paying attention to. And Robert says Trump's going to go hard. The guys are losing faith. They're losing faith in a potential bounce. And then PEPE degen play. So Make money, travel, enjoy. She'll probably like this one. There's a possible PEPE bounce coming at 61 for a short-term bounce play. So this is obviously when we look at these things, guys, remember, the market moves in waves. It goes up and down. And obviously the higher time frame, like a weekly, a monthly, a daily chart, that obviously controls the context of the whole market. But in between a daily chart and a weekly chart, you're going to see moves like this on lower time frames that the degens like to play with. So we always get opportunities in the market. And Muli says, look at the panic selling on the chart. So PEPE was another one. Okay, this was another short zone, PEPE, that we gave you guys on Friday. And it is now fallen from our zone. Okay, so this was the resistance zone. No, sorry, PEPE, the big zone for me was up here. This was a rejection zone on Friday. The high conviction short was higher up. Okay, that was the high conviction zone. So in terms of today, what I'm looking at, if we get a push here from PEPE, if we do get a hard push, there's a high conviction short zone now. I've dropped that down. So if the market does start ripping here today, that's my short zone on the short term. So areas of interest, 7.2 to 7.4. 7.2 to 7.4. Mark that on your charts. If you get a pump leading into tomorrow, 7.2 to 7.4, that's going to be your danger zone there on PEPE. And then in terms of possible bounce longs now, if you're looking for short-term longs to the upside, well, you can see I've grabbed a little bit of SOL there and Ondo on that limit order. But in terms of levels that I love, it's got to be the 61. Okay, that is my 786 FIB, and that is a fill of that region over there. So I would love to see just one more dip into that zone for the bounce. So 61 short term on PEPE. And then obviously we do have that guy. You can see there's a horizontal, but for me, just a little bit of caution there. Okay, so yeah, watch that 636. But for me, 61 is where it's at. And then you can see our oscillator is getting ready for some kind of reversal there to the upside, hopefully. Okay. Let's talk 𝗬𝗰 big levels for you guys. And we are literally in the bounce now or cut it off level for 𝗬𝗰 as well. And this is the 𝗬𝗰 weekly chart. So if you're sitting in 𝗬𝗰, this is your last. It's basically getting held by like a twig. Okay, it's basically, you know, a bridge getting held up by a tiny twig here at 1.96. And you can see we are just one sneeze away from 1.51 for the 𝗬𝗰 at the moment on the weekly. So in terms of our previous setup that we liked, we pumped into the 50, we've now rejected, and now we're in our first potential big bounce zone. 196 for 𝗬𝗰. Lose this, it's 1.51. And here it is. Okay, so let's go. Let's actually take a degen play here. Let's go long here on 𝗬𝗰 quickly. I'm going to take a small 𝗬𝗰 long here, just in case this market bounces for us. Okay, I want to start I want to start hedging long. You can see I'm in too many shorts here at the moment, and obviously just a little bit concerned that we get some kind of snapback bounce. Okay, so I'm taking a 𝗬𝗰 long here on LBank here at the moment, and I'm going to just stick my stop underneath here at 1.95. Okay, so let's go 1.95. Okay, so there we go. Just trying to get a couple of longs going here. You can see I'm overly weighted short at the moment. Okay, okay, let's go. Okay, I'm going to do Doge, and then I don't want Dave to take the wheel. He's got 2 or 3 setups here for us that sound a little bit spicy. Make money, travel, enjoy says she was faster. Is she long 𝗬𝗰 there? What is she doing? Okay, let's go Doge. So guys, if we capitulate, what are we looking at? You can see Doge on the weekly, massive weekly rising trend in play for us. We're now losing the trend. That's pretty bearish in terms of a weekly chart. If the market collapses now leading into Monday, what you're going to be looking at is 142 down to 126. Look at this beautiful area here for us on Doge. So 142 down to 126. I would expect a decent bounce there in terms of Doge. It should be a nice mover. Okay, that should be a big move there. So it could be another 10 to 15% down on Doge. That makes sense. Another capitulation, and then some kind of bounce there for us. And Alex says, I guess they need more support. What is she talking about? And then in terms of the degen setup, this was our wedge that we were tracking on Friday. Now, on Friday, I was saying we follow these wedges and we trade these things until they break. At some point, they break bullish. And, you know, this is a bullish, it's a bullish setup. But obviously, we got to wait for these wedges to break out. So on Friday, we were sitting here on Doge and we were saying if it pops out, this was going to be the game plan for us. But obviously it's rejected at that resistance zone. And now we're looking for our next potential bounce zone. So in terms of a short-term bounce on Doge, we can't really argue with the 786 fib tied in with this wick fill that you can see to the left-hand side on the 2-hour chart. So we are in a potential long zone here. And then in terms of following this wedge to the downside, you can see this wick fill at the low. So we could see something like that, and then we get Doge playing out. So that would be quite a nice situation there for us on Doge. So there's two options here. If you do get one more sneeze to the downside, 145 to 142, remember that's the top of this capitulation zone on the weekly. So you might get some kind of short-term bounce there. Alternatively, you might see something here at around 153, but that's degen stuff. Okay. And Stavros says, we're going deep. Inverse bull, bro. And Greg says, Wonderbra been finding support since 1987. Okay. David. Give us stuff. Give us stuff, bro. Quiet Man says he's short. Okay, let's see what Dave's got. Let's pull his charts out here.
Yeah, so guys, first and foremost, like Friday we gave some shorts and they're playing out. And sometimes there's a saying you just want to be short and chill, right? And at the moment, looking for shorts in current market conditions, I mean, you see that like rare is up 10%. There's something potentially there, but to give a short right now, it's kind of late. In my opinion, right? It's very few and far between, as they say, but there are some long levels that make sense. Now, I'm not saying that these are going to be amazing longs, but I think we might get a little bounce play here with Asia Open. Typically weekends are traps, but if we are indeed going down in the macro, it would make sense to get a little tiny bounce to kind of wreck all the late shorts, because I'm sure there's people FOMOing shorts right now. And then the actual move happens. It's typically the max pain scenario that makes sense. However, one that stands out to me at the moment is MAVIA, right? I've been pretty spot on with MAVIA, up and down, up and down. And so this is going to be my fourth attempt to give a setup like this publicly. And so I know this kind of looks kind of everything's everywhere, but let me just kind of break it down for you, right? So first and foremost, MAVIA has a 12-hour hidden bullish divergence. We had that print maybe 2 days ago, right? And so we are a little bit lower than when the signal was given, which is okay. So what I've done here is I've got two fixed range pulls here, right? So I've got this first one here, and when you see these blue lines, this is called the value area low, and this is called the value area high, right? So we are coming into a value area low. I've got two 618, so I have a fib pulled from the low of the 24th of March to the high here. Oh, looks like an alert went off to the high. And then you can see that we have retraced right into the 618 region. Now we have deviated just a little bit below, but you can see that we're tapping the value area low as well. So I've entered at a position here, not full size or anything. I've entered a half size position. And my idea here is that if we do dip a little bit lower, right, you can see that we have a point of control in 50-day MA here. So my strategy is laddering into this guy to catch a big move. Now, what I've done here as far as targets goes, I've taken a fib from the high to the current low, assuming that we do kind of bottom out right here. I love how the 618 ties in with a point of control that's up here. So there's two things tying in here, and that would be kind of the ultimate target, right? And we've seen before when the market dumps, MAVIA pumps. So if we are indeed to have some kind of macro pullback, it would be nice to see MAVIA play out as that hedge for the market makers, right? So if that is indeed the case here, this could be a nice little 30 to 40% ripper. Now, this is a degen play. We are negative 14% today, so I do feel comfortable giving you guys the entry now. But if we zoom out, like I said, we have this macro fixed range pull, right, where the value area high ties in at 50 cents and the value area low ties in at 21 cents. I don't expect price action to come here, but I am identifying somewhat of a horizontal level that could be respected if you guys see right here, right? So I'm going to change this to support, shade the screen a little bit, and you can see that we have had confluence here, right, where this was prior resistance. I'm looking for this to be a bounce zone. Okay, so that would be really nice. Again, the market could continue to come down, right? Like we're at a 786 right now with Bitcoin. Right, if we continue to go down, then MAVIA should come down here, I think, worst case scenario. So this is a macro point of control. You can see right here, that point of control is at 0.2831 with the 50-day MA right behind it. I love that. And so whether it's now or we kind of have a little bit more of a pullback into this zone here, I'm expecting something like that, right? So this is a bit of a degen play, low leverage, multiple positions. We're focused on the area. You know, if you want to be super precise with your stop loss and you don't like laddering in, or maybe you don't know how, right? Again, value area low is basically right here at 31.77. So entering now, right? Give yourself maybe a 4% stop loss, right? Give yourself some breathing room, because again, you guys see in the market, especially in crypto, you have these stupid wicks that make no sense that they reclaim and go, right? And that's essentially a stop hunt where they take you out of your position before the actual move happens. So give yourself some breathing room, I would say, right? Again, this is a very important level here. So setting your stop loss below this horizontal makes a lot of sense. And so 4% stop, I would say, would be the goal here. Okay. So, degen play, like I said, we'll see how we go, but I took a position half size. I'm looking to ladder in more. In fact, I do hope they come back a little bit deeper so I can increase my size there. And that's just one of the strategies that I do. The next setup that makes sense for me here is IMX. Okay. So I was just scrolling through a bunch of setups here today. IMX stood out. I actually had an alert here. I gave this setup on the Friday session that we could have a macro double bottom situation happening here, and my alert went off this morning. So you can see here that in 2022, we had these lows, which from these lows, we've had a massive, massive tear to the upside. So back in 2022, when we were at these levels, we had a 300% move to the upside, all the way up to $1.50. Okay. Now, I did start a position on IMX. Okay. A little decent half size here, but one thing I am anticipating is we could come and take out these lows and deviate just a little bit with the bounce. And I'm expecting that. One thing I also noticed right now is that even though Bitcoin is dumping extra percentages, so as we were on the show, we saw Bitcoin go from 3 point something percent to now negative 4 point something percent. And IMX is kind of holding here, right? Typically you would see IMX dump an extra 3 or 4 or 5% when Bitcoin dumps 1%. We're not seeing that. So I'm kind of getting the vibes of maybe there's a bottoming out situation here, right? Who the heck is going to want to sell IMX at the lows? Like that's just capitulation, which capitulation could happen, right? And again, we could see that tomorrow, but I think this is a zone that's worth taking a stab at, right? So again, this is 2022. And if I go all the way to where we're at now, you know, we have hit that level, right? So this was on Friday during the session. And I said, look, I would love to see us come take out these or come test these lows from 2022 to be a double bottom. Okay. So again, where's the stop loss? We're in discovery mode. So that's something that you're going to have to figure out on your own. For me personally, I'm actually looking to add more on a dip here, right? I don't know how far down we'll go to take out the 2022 lows, but I am expecting that deviation where we do come back, reclaim, and then go for a target here. So my target, you guys can already see, I have a 50-day MA up here. I've got a fib pulled from the last lower high before the big dump here, which chart hackers, congratulations, man. All of you guys nailed that short. I was trying to short it for a higher level, but I know Panda made it. Like a lot of you guys made that IMX short. And so here we are. Can we catch the long now, right? So if we do catch this long and we do have some kind of bounce, again, we don't know what the market will happen. It could be a nice little 10% bounce, 15% bounce, but in the most optimistic view of things here, we could see a 56% rally to retest the 618 and the 50-day MA. That's kind of my optimistic target, but I would be completely happy with a bounce to this horizontal level right here, right? So we can see that this could be the stops as well. So I'm definitely gonna be taking some profits at 46 cents, which is about a 20% move, right? So we can't be greedy. Okay. Take some profit.
I'm gonna try trade this on CoinEx quickly. So what's the entry? Can I take the entry now?
I'm in. Yeah, the entry is right now. Like I've entered the trade. IMX, where are we at? Yes, I'm in a little bit of a drawdown right now for IMX. Nothing crazy. What, -6%? But again, I've got 2 size positions here with my plan. Right. So.
Okay, I'm gonna start a position on IMX. Guys, remember, if you're taking these DGen plays now, obviously there's risk involved. So you don't want to go like max size, because we're talking about a fucking Black Monday tomorrow that can literally come and rinse you out completely. So just be careful with what you're doing here. But I'm gonna have a go here. Why is this red yet? And it's not, let me just open this. Let me open this position. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Starting an IMX position. If we get a little bit more weakness, I'm going to add to that one there, Dave. So I'm trading this one on CoinX. Okay, you can also you can grab them in the show description there. It's under the show description. Just click on more, and you can grab that there. Okay, nice, Davey. I've got a couple more setups for you guys, or some big levels. Injective, does that interest you? Link, I've got that for you guys. We're going to talk about TON. Is it time to close our TON shorts at the moment as well? So there, make money, travel, enjoy says low leverage. Good tip. Okay, obviously, guys, we don't want to get rinsed. Okay, you can see Doge, so you know the Doge play. You guys have got that from me now. Obviously, one of my favorites is FARTCOIN. This is obviously a risky play. So this is FARTCOIN on the 2-hour that I'm tracking at the moment. And I've got quite a nice system with FARTCOIN. I try and keep it really chilled. I don't try and trade too much in between the big zones. So what I like to do personally on FARTCOIN is to track it on the 1-hour and the 2-hour charts. When I see divergence, whether that's at resistance or I see divergence on support, that is where I tend to look for longs on FARTCOIN. So right now, we're still waiting for FARTCOIN. We're waiting for action. The last time we got a long out of FARTCOIN, we did get this beautiful bounce off the hot zone indicator, and that really did fire us. I think that gave us about 25%. So what I'm going to wait for now, and this is the 2-hour, I'm waiting for FARTCOIN to settle in one of these regions over here. I would expect the next long is going to be something like that, and you're probably going to have some kind of divergence playing out on FARTCOIN on the oscillator. So that is what I'm going to be waiting very patiently for. So in terms of potential long zones, if you guys don't see this till tomorrow, 37 to 34, and then around about 30 to 20, call it 28, 30 to 28. Makes sense for me, and I want to see that divergence. When we move into those zones, that's when we start nibbling at these positions, and then we get a nice little push off these areas. Okay, so basically what you want to see is just some consolidation on the area and then a nice pop. Okay, so waiting for that, waiting very patiently for that on FARTCOIN. Remember, all these charts go directly into Chart Hackers after the show, so you can get them all there for you guys. And Pia says he's short everything 100x, absolute psycho. Let's talk Injective. Now, Injective is it's a banger, okay, because we know Injective loves a bull market, okay. Injective loves a little bit of energy, so we know Injective is going to deliver for us once we get a good entry in a good zone. So it's just a matter of grabbing the hot zones, and right now we're slowly moving into it. And this is also telling me that maybe the sell-off is not done. 6.3, okay, 6.3 to 6.4 for Injective makes sense to me. And then I've got this other area over here. Again, that is around about 4.7 that you're going to be watching. So these are potential zones that I can see Injective coming to if we have a bit of a sell-off in the market. Then obviously, I mean, we can mark the big zones all day long. You know, you want to start highlighting weekly candles where you see multiple weekly candles. So 6.36, 4.7 and 3 make a lot of sense to me on Injective. If you do get that wick down or you get that capitulation, make sure you are ready to go. Okay, Injective will obviously at some point it's going to do these types of things again. Okay, look at the size of these moves that it can give you. Even after, you know, quite a big sell-off, it can give you some beautiful pumps. Look at that, 100% there out of a little move of support. So don't lose sight of these types of things. That is a possibility. Let's talk Link. Guys, 10.3. Look at this, okay? So what I've done here is I've highlighted a 786 tied in with massive weekly levels here. Look at all these weekly touches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, just in this cluster. So 10.3 to me on Link down to 10. 10.3 to 10 looks like my first decent reaction zone. Now, basically, you wanted to see it respect a strong weekly level, and when we add on the 786, that also gives us a little bit more confluence in that zone. So 10.3 makes sense to me, a potential bounce there on Link. And then obviously we can highlight this wick that obviously has to come into play for us as well, because we've got so much confluence in that area. Look at the size of this zone here at 8.3. So 10.3, 8.3, big zones here. For Link, okay, watch those areas there, guys. That is coming in hot for you. Then in terms of AVAX, I know this is obviously a popular one as well. AVAX, guys, 15 point, call it 15.8. We're moving there now, and then the big one is obviously the lows at around about 9. We don't want to scare you, but that is on the table. And then we do have some weekly levels in between that, 12. So we're going 15 point, call it 15.5, 12. And 9. These are your capitulation event sell-offs. Okay, these are the levels you want to get ready to buy. These are the ones you really focus on. Okay, if the market's falling over, it typically bounces on those types of big zones. This is what happens when the government gets Bitcoin. I suppose there's an argument for that. Okay, PopCat, guys, this is literally bounce now or cut it off. So here we are. Okay, PopCat. This was the low from the 11th of March. Here we are. If there's going to be a short-term bounce, I would expect it in this area. So potential PopCat move here off the zone 0.1, call it 0.14. You just want to look for this, maybe a little wick down and then a pop to the upside. Now, we're not getting greedy. We're not looking for massively big moves here on PopCat. You want to just try and grab, 10 to 15%. There's a 10% there to 15.3, and there's a 20% to 17. Okay, so nothing serious here. Just saying we are in an area where you could get some kind of short-term bounce out of some of these tokens. And I would be careful. If you're going max short now on support and you have no shorts at the moment, just brace yourself, because you could get put under a lot of pressure before they dump it down again. Okay, we've used up our full session. So me and Dave now and Chart Hackers, we go live on Chart Hackers every Sunday night. It's called the Sunday Night Banger, and we tee up the week ahead. We're going to do way more of this, obviously in a way calmer fashion, and we're going to talk to our members there in Chart Hackers. If that interests you guys, join Chart Hackers, sign up to the link in the show description. We are doing that in probably 20 minutes. We are on. Okay, so Dave, thanks for hanging.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
In there. Okay. Guys, again, just final warnings and final words on the current situation. It's absolutely messy out there. That's why I'm wearing disgusting today. Okay. It's, again, the market is hanging by a thread. They're relying on Uncle Donald to say something positive, to give us some kind of relief rally. We're waiting for this news to come in. Okay. Until we get some decent news, the market could just potentially keep grinding lower. They're going to wait for some kind of move out on X or out on Truth Social or whatever is going on. All I can say is unprecedented waters. Things are hectic out there. If you're not feeling comfortable, don't trade. Just wait. At some point, we're going to get direction in the market and things are going to get a lot simpler. Okay, so good luck out there. I'm back tomorrow, same time, same place on Banter Plus. And yeah, it's going to be wild. But whatever they give us, I'll be there. We'll be dealing with it. Okay, see you guys later.